Welcome back, hotelier. How to be a waiter. Chapter 4. Part 4. Making good tips. A. Make sure you are presentable before you leave for work. Always arrive at least 15 minutes before your scheduled shift, well groomed and with clean clothes on. Wear clean shoes and socks. Your hair should be neat and washed, your nails clean, your uniform/clothes clean and modest. Apply limited quantities of makeup to show a natural and fresh look. B. Watch for signals. If a table wants something, they will glance around to look for you. Learn to stay alert as you walk the floor, without staring at your tables. Most customers will make eye contact as a signal that they need you. This can give them the feeling like you are paying attention without hovering over them. When their good food and conversation is over, they will start looking around at other diners or the walls. This can tell you when to clear plates, offer desserts, or drop a check the check. C. Talk less. Avoid going into eagle hawk mode and badgering the customers. Customers hate to be ogled at or constantly interrupted in their conversation and meal, but will also need something every now and then. It's a delicate balance. Learn to gauge your customers quickly. If a couple seems tense and like they might be in the middle of an argument, it's probably not the time to ask celebrating something tonight, or other breaking the ice questions. If a table seems like they're having a good time and are hesitant to leave, suggest drinks or coffee. If they feel like chatting, take a moment to chat. If not, leave them in their conversation. D. Don't assume the man will pay. If it becomes directly known to you during their visit which guest will be paying, you may leave a check at the end of the table by him or her. Otherwise, leave a check in the middle of the table. Check is always facing down. If it is inside a check envelope, lay it flat on the table. B. Stay calm. When customers get nasty or rude, listen and communicate with them openly. Remember, it's job, it isn't personal. If they're openly belligerent, disturbing other customers, or overtly drunk, grab a manager and let the boss deal with it. If a customer leaves a tip in my hand, is it for the restaurant or me? Most of the time, it's for you. Though, if you are not sure, ask the manager politely and he or she will help you. From which side do I serve the guests, and from which side do I clear the dishes? Where do I place wine in front of the guest? Drinks should always be on the right side of the guest, bread plates on the left. Use the path of least resistance for clearing and serving. How do I deal with questions I don't know how to answer? Never give the customer your best guess, because you may be wrong. Be honest with them and tell them you're unsure, then make every attempt to find a more experienced coworker or a manager, preferably a manager, and ask them. Take the answer back to the customer yourself. Do not ask your coworker or a manager to do so for you. How do I set a place? When you set the table, do it before any guests arrive. It saves you time. Put the placemats down first, and then the dishes on top of the mats. Put the napkin with the fork and knife, and on the top right the glass of water. When the diner has had his entrees, you set the fork and knife for the main course by putting the knife on the right and fork on the left. Do I have to have a cloth over your arm? No, not always. It really depends on the sort of restaurant you are working in. In general, the fancier the restaurant is, the more likely you will need or gauge to have a cloth draped over your arm. How do I remember everything as a waiter? Always write everything down, even if you think you will remember it. Even the most complicated and extensive orders can be remembered, as long as you write them down in your server book. What side should a waiter serve a table? Usually, guests are served over their right shoulders. How do I respond in an interview? Answer honestly and use your head. The person interviewing you will put you in scenarios common in a restaurant and see if you act appropriately. How old do I need to be to get a job as a waiter? 16 are generally the minimum age, though some restaurants may prefer to hire people over 18. In most states, it's 18. Some might require you to be older to serve alcohol. Advices: never go to a table smelling like smoke. If you are allowed a cigarette break, follow it by washing your hands, rinsing your mouth, and when possible decontaminating your clothing by spritzing yourself with a twist of lemon. If your friends come to visit, keep conversations short and treat them as you would other clients. If they are not eating or ordering anything, it is not looked good upon if they stay for more than just a couple minutes. Never try to hide a mistake from management, you'll only make the problem worse. Generally, in most restaurants, when an order is wrong, such as steak that is overcooked, the manager will usually bring the correct order back, but if you don't say something, the manager won't know. Acknowledge it promptly and let them help you resolve the situation. If you do wear perfume or cologne, make sure you never put on too much. The smell can be overwhelming and drive guests out of the restaurant instead of tempting them to come in. Learn items that guests commonly prefer to have arrived before the main course. If they order soup, salad, and main course, be sure to ask if they would like their soup and/or salad before the meal, as most of the time they will say yes. Even if your restaurant automatically serves soup and salad first, ask the question because some guests might prefer the other way around. Learn other items that come out in certain orders so that you can customize their arrival to your guests' liking. Make sure you can carry out all of the normal procedures quickly and consistently. Don't forget anything. For example, if you're making tea, make sure you give out cups, saucers, milk and a teaspoon. There's always an obvious question, which most customers ask. Whether it is you serve fresh coffee, under the coffee orders here sign, or how much do crumpets cost? Whilst looking at the menu, answer it gracefully every time. Ideally, try to make the answer even more obvious, so that future customers are less likely to ask it. If you're good at remembering things, try to remember the usual food and drinks your regular guests order. This can make ordering a lot simpler and efficient. Warnings: don't let one mistake trip you up the whole night. If you let one bad thing get to you, you'll slip up more and more. Just shake it off, take a breather, and move on. Talk to someone you like or respect and get it off your chest. I screwed up. I'm sorry lightens the burden, as does the honest reply, you should have been here when I was doing your job. Things you will need: pens that work, scratch paper, a table crummer, a lighter, if smoking is allowed in the restaurant, and a waiter's friend, bottle/wine opener. Comfortable, good quality shoes with a good non-slip grip. Kitchens can be slippery. If you have long hair, make sure to bring extra hair ties just in case you or a co-worker needs it.